I don't see it on my page, but
Hey.
hey, and good evening, America. Welcome. I am Wendy Torres, one of your co-hosts, and welcome to the Mentee podcast on this Wednesday, October 28th, 2020.
Hey, y'all. My name is Emil Thomas. I am your other co-host. I hope wherever you are having a fantastic hump day.
Yes.
I know this is about to be a crazy adventure, and I cannot wait for this to happen. How you doing, Wendy? How you doing?
Listen, I am doing great, right? It's Wednesday. It is my off day. So I am just kind of relaxing a little bit. Normally, I'm working out a lot, but not today. Today, it is my active rest day. So I'm feeling good, excited about us being here doing this today. And so I'm just excited to be here and to get this day started. However, I am very interested in hearing what is going on with you, sir. What is going on with you? Tell me how are things going?
Things are going quite interesting. Quite interesting. It has been a week, I must say. I woke up yesterday morning to a email saying that my ballot had been denied.
Whoa.
The ballot was supposedly on its way for the last month and a half, and suddenly yesterday it just was denied. And so I gave a call to the election office, and they told me that the post office couldn't mail the ballot, and so they sent the ballot back.
Wait, so the post office could not mail your ballot?
Listen, I don't know what
that doesn't even make any sense to me.
I don't know how the post office can't mail a ballot, but my ballot they could not mail, and so they sent it back to the office.
And did they send you any kind of notification that your ballot had been sent back?
The only notification that I got was when I got that email in yesterday morning saying that it was denied. And I said, how could something be denied that I haven't received yet?
Wow.
It's crazy because I actually have been it's crazy because for the last week have been talking to some family saying like, hey, if I don't get my ballot in 24 hours, then I'm just going to have to like come down to Atlanta and get this taken care of because, where's the ballot?
Right.
And truth be told, I kept saying it, I kept bringing it in, and sure enough, I got denied.
Wow, I cannot believe this. So go ahead.
So now I'm on my way home tomorrow.
Right. To actually vote.
Oh yeah.
So you did everything that was supposed to be done, but no explanation as to why the post office could not mail your ballot. That makes no sense to me.
And the office also has no explanation for why the post office couldn't mail it. So my big thing was of all of this, I wanted to know like how many people got an email yesterday?
Right.
Because it wasn't just me. There's no way that they just got one ballot the next day.
Right.
There has to be hundreds, maybe thousands of ballots that got sent back to that office.
And so all of these people, especially people out of state, are military, college students all over the nation that tried to vote absentee are getting notices literally 3 days. I mean, the weekend kind of doesn't count, but 3 to 5 days before the election to say that, oh, we can't even send you your absentee ballot. Better yet, accept it.
And we can't send it to you fast enough for you to sit down, complete it, and then be able to get it in the post office again so that it's marked and you can actually be counted in the election.
Wow. Okay, people. So listen, right now, if you have not voted here in the state of Georgia, Friday is the last day for early voting. So we encourage you to go out to vote. I am going to vote on election day.
We got a question.
Yes.
Mama want to know how we find out.
How do you find out? So you have to tell her how you found out. How do you go and make sure that your ballot was accepted and everything is okay with it?
So I'm going to tell you the literal way that I check every day because I don't memorize websites. Go to Google and literally put in your state and voting registration. You can even put your state, voting registration, and absentee. It's going to pop up your government page. On Georgia, our government page has 3 squares on it. That has you sign in, first initial, last name, your birth date, and your county. It figures you, it finds you, and then it will pop up your registration status. And once it does that, it gives you another square that says check on your absentee or you can apply. Because I had already applied, I actually have been looking for the last 2 weeks to see when it was going to come. So it was something that I was doing daily as I was in and out of classes. And when you click on the status, it will tell you that it'll tell you a couple of things: the date in which you requested it, the date in which it has started processing, and then it will tell you the date they received it, and then if it's accepted or not.
Okay.
What many people who have sent in their absentee ballots need to be doing right now is checking if it has been accepted.
Right. Because yours, if I remember looking at yours, said that it was accepted.
It said that it was denied and undeliverable, which I don't know what undeliverable means when you can send me my bill in this address for the last 2 years.
Right. Okay. Okay, so make sure that you go and you check your status, because if not, then you're going to have to go in face to face. I am going to be going in on election day to vote. That is the tradition that I have with my oldest daughter, Brennan. I will be picking her up from college. She's in West Georgia. And so I'll be picking her up on Monday. And then we're going to brave the line on Tuesday, whatever it looks like. We might be electric sliding. We might be doing, I don't know, the cha-cha slide. I don't know. We are going to cast our votes on Tuesday, on election day. So that's what we're going to be. Oh, there she is. Hey, breathe this. She said, yes, that's what we're doing. Great. So now listen, those of you that are following us right now, if you're watching on Facebook and you're on my page or you're on Emil's page, if you want to comment, so we need you to go to the Mentor Mentee podcast Facebook page, and there you'll be able to interact with us face to face, and we'll be able to pick up your questions or comments, and we'll be able to answer them from there. Well, I am so glad that at least this happened, Emil, in time for you to be able to get down here and vote. And so let me tell you, along with all the rest of my godchildren, let me say this very loud and clear. Don't come down here to Georgia and let me not be able to put eyes on you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now we may move on.
Okay. Let me not get in trouble, y'all. Let me not get in trouble on the first one. So let's get into the nitty gritty, right?
Okay.
Like, here's the thing. We started a podcast.
We started a whole podcast, sir.
Like it says live on the screen.
It does.
People are watching.
There are people.
We have spent the last 2 months.
Yes.
I want to say 2 months at this point. We spent the last 2 months meeting weekly, texting each other daily, every other day, late at night, early in the morning, sending videos and ideas and posing.
I have this shiny microphone and all of this equipment here that I don't know how to work.
But you put it together.
I sure did, because I'm the DY. I can do it myself. So with your help, of course. But yes, we got all this equipment together, and here we are with our first podcast, our first episode. You know what? Happy first episode, sir.
Happy opening, Wendy.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I got to tell you, here's the thing that I'm most excited about. We are starting a journal together. right now at this very moment, and from here on out, we are going to be documenting our life journey wherever the good Lord has us going. And I have to say, it means even more to me now to say this than before, because this morning I'm gonna drop some news and then I'm gonna explain the news. That's just usually how I am. I want the reaction and then I'll tell you what happened. So today I got an email from some faculty members at my school. For those who don't know, I'm currently studying in Chicago to get my MFA in directing. And I was granted deferment.
Okay.
Which means I am taking a year off of school.
Okay.
Which is
are we happy about that?
I'm at peace with it. It's not my fault.
Okay.
I don't want to stop. I love being in academia. I love education. I love I have plans and dreams in which I believe this was the way to go. And since I have put in my request for deferment, it's really dawned to me that like God has a plan for us at this point that none of us understand or know. And I know we say that so often, and we say that all the time, but at this very point, it is so true. Theater does not have an industry. I've always been doing theater. That's all I've done. It is sitting on the sidelines right now. People are doing everything they can to figure out how to bring it back, how to revive it, how to revolutionize it, how to break the barriers of white supremacy and open it to diversity and inclusion. And while I love all that, there's not much to do. And so many of us are just unemployed and not working at this time. And so school, I thought, would be some form of a saving grace, in that I thought, well, while this pandemic is happening, at least I can make it count by going through school, right? That I can make this time count by getting my education. And it came to a point in the last week where like it just came to the point where it's not viable. There's not much more education that I can get from them at this time. Not because they're not qualified, but because theater is not meant to be virtual. It's not meant to be online. It's not meant to be communicated through a screen. That's TV, that's film. Those are other mediums, but not this medium. That's not the theater medium.
Yeah.
And so I just had to, put your big boy pants on and decide what is best. And for me, what is best right now is to take a year off and come back when time is due. But when I made that decision, something in me, God, said, what makes you think you're gonna be there in a year? And I was like, how come you be playing games? Now that's not me saying I'm not gonna go back, because I don't know. God might, I just might be having that gut feeling on my own. But if I believe how I believe, something says, well, who knows what this year that I'm about to endure is going to bring to me? What new gifts?
So, well, that makes me think of, well, number one, that's the whole point, right? So when you try to walk through a door and the door just keeps shutting, and you keep trying to walk through a door and the door just keeps like, okay, I keep trying to open the door and I got keys, but the keys are not working the door. I got some keys and I keep trying to put the key in the door, but the two are not working. Then that says that that's not the door, right? And so while getting your master's in theater is a good thing, there is a shift that is happening in the atmosphere, period, right now. And so that is going to be God telling you that that's not the way. I believe wholeheartedly, like you said that people are trying to revitalize and evolutionize a thing. And that's exactly what I think is happening right now. There is a new thing coming. Period. It's thing that you have not ever seen before. And so to be able to if you're going to do a thing that has never been seen before and be a thing that has never been done before, sometimes you got to be still first. And so you can't be busy producing and directing plays for the school if you're trying to get somebody's trying to download something into you that you've never seen before. It's like coding, right? So if coding is a bunch of zeros, ones, and twos, but God is now talking in 5, 7s, and 12s, then that's a whole new brand of coding.
Yep.
And you're going to have to be still and quiet for that. So I'm going to encourage you. Well, that's so funny how we are the Mentor Mentee podcast. And here we're going to do it right here live. So I want to encourage you to be still in this moment and be very clear to hear, because you're about to get a new assignment, but a new download and a new direction. And it's going to be things that have never been seen before. If an industry, like I believe that we are seeing the entire end of an era. We've seen the major giants of complete eras leave this time period, and things are going to not necessarily fall off, but they're going to shift and evolve. I don't believe education will ever be the same again. And so theater is no different. It doesn't mean that it won't be, it just won't be the same.
Absolutely.
Right. So you're going to have to listen, and you're going to have to understand that that it's a new way of thinking. And so if your mind has to be expanded, see, you were going to school to get an education in a way of things that have already been. You were going to have professors teach you something that they already knew to expand. And it might have been things you already knew. It was just going to help you get a piece of paper. But now you're about to get a whole new way of thinking that you didn't know. So now we're talking about an expansion of your knowledge and your abilities, and things that it's kind of like when I'm working out, right? I have done things I didn't even know I was capable of doing until I got it. He's going to kill me if I hit this microphone one more time. I felt it coming. But you're going to do so in the midst of doing, you're going to be like, oh, that's what that was. So just embrace it.
Just embrace it. I got it.
Yeah.
What's up, Trey? Listen, Trey is one of my brothers. We were RAs together at Ball State University. Almost like we getting close to like decades. It's crazy.
So yes, you're getting older, sir. Yeah, let's acknowledge all of the people that are on. Hey, Tony, Mother, Brennan. Hey, Captain Kurt. Hey, Kurt, how are you? Thank you guys for being here. Hey, Mariah, how are you? So we're just so glad that you all are tuning in with us today on our journey. Hi, my loves. I love you too. All right, so
yes. We are getting old. Hey, Trey, I haven't told you. Congratulations on the baby. He is handsome. He is absolutely handsome. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I just had to.
It's okay. So let's get, I guess, into why are we here, right? So that's what. How did we get here, right? So let's talk about how we met. So this is called the Mentor Mentee podcast. So that means that there's got to be a little bit of a relationship here. So let's talk about that a little bit. I met Nate. I knew of Nate. I'm sorry, I said Nate. Emil.
No, let's do that. You knew of Nate before there was Emil. Okay,
come on, sir. Come on now.
Before there was Emil, there was a Nate.
Woo. Okay, so I knew of Nate at the high school that I taught at. It was a performing arts high school, and Nate was one of the theater majors, not tech major. You were a theater major.
I was a drama major, vocal minor.
Oh, okay. Well, that is not how he operated, because he was over there running stuff. And so my first encounter with him was when he and a group of other students did a rendition of James Weldon Johnson's Creation during a Black History program, and it was phenomenal. It was so moving that I can see it right now in my mind's eye. I was blessed to see some of the most talented young people perform and just be creative in school. Yes, I taught at a high school where children walked down the halls in leotards and tights. It was just like Fame. It really was like that. And so I knew of him from his performances. And then one year, the school put on a play called Ragtime, and they needed a Cole House Junior for the play. At the end of the play, and my son Ian was about 5 or 6 years old, and he fit the bill. So they asked Ian if he would be in that play. So for at least 2.5 weeks, I took my son up to the Strand Theater in Marietta, and I just handed him over to who I knew then was Nate. And Nate, bless his heart, had to handle Ian for at least 3 to 4 hours every night for Ian to come out at the finale of the play and be Cole House Jr. And he was very sharp in his little suit. But the play ran for at least, I know, at least 7 days, not to mention some rehearsals. And that was your responsibility was to be his handler. So that was my first encounter with him on a personable level. And then I became his government teacher. So I was his government and economics teacher his senior year. It was honors econ and gov, where I taught him and a great number of other people that I will affectionately call my godchildren, because I get tired of telling people that I hang out with people that I used to teach. It's just too much. They're my godchildren. Keep it moving. So anyway, we did a lot of work that year about civic action, and I wish I could take credit for how civically minded they were, but they actually came to me that way. They were a gifted group of students that were determined to break barriers and traditions, especially in the school. And so that is how we met. And then I had a mentor group that Nate is gonna finish the story a little bit in that he was a part of, and I ended up, because of some things that happened, mentoring them all the way through college as well.
Yeah, I think I first walked into that room junior year.
Mm-hmm.
So let me say two things. One, I think it's hilarious that in high school they made me a child handler of children as a child for 2 shows. I just think that's hilarious. As you come to know me, I'm not really interested in ever having children. I love the idea of being an uncle, and I'm an uncle to many nephews and nieces. My 2 other brothers got a bunch of kids, and I got sisters along the way that got kids. So there's just a bunch of them, and I love it. It got all ranges. But it's just hilarious that they want to make me a child handler.
Right.
But that just says, right, what am I willing to do? How much work am I willing to put in to get to where I want it? Because I was a stage manager I was stage managing at that time, or assistant stage manager. However, so when we got to let's segue back to the mentorship. Yes. When I first walked into that room, I was first beckoned into that room by the other mentor of the group. She was planning. I really want to say she was planning the pep rally.
Yeah, yes, we were planning.
It was the pep rally, and there was something they wanted to do that at the time no one in the room knew how to execute.
Right.
But people in the room knew there was someone in the school who could execute it.
They said, "Go get Nate. He can do it."
And so I was brought into a room of women that it's like going into a little bit of a secret society in the sense of, like, you walk into a room and it's not a bunch of white men running it. It's a bunch of women. And I was like, oh, there really is a God. Because my school is being ran by a bunch of women. And it's a bunch of Black women and Hispanic women.
Hello.
I was like, okay. So I walked into this room, and who knows what the conversation was. But the point was there was something in the pep rally that they needed assistance with. And I was all down for it. I was really big on ending the segregation between the performing arts program in our school and what was considered to be, the district side in our school.
Was it the flash mob?
No, that was the peak of my work.
Okay. Okay.
That was the start of my work was this, and then the peak of my work went up. And
Okay.
so after us doing that pep rally, the amount of time we spent together, right, and being able to talk to y'all, you just took me under your wings.
We did.
You took me under your wings, and I found a place that was not in the performing arts school where I felt like I belonged, where I had a voice, where I had space to grow.
Yes.
And space to operate.
Exactly.
And by that, I became one of two of the men in the mentoring group at that time. Yeah. There are more than two of us, but there was only two of us at the time. So everyone knows. And that was it. And for the next 2 years, we hit the ground running. I mean, we were doing all the pep rallies. I was assisting, if not helping, to lead the Black History program. And then senior year was my class's big hoorah.
Yes.
And it was a hoorah where we foreshadowed to that community that we were a group of individuals that heard, that witnessed, and did not accept what was given to us.
Exactly.
We heard what y'all taught us. We saw what y'all said was supposed to be going on. And we did not accept the lies of education.
Right. Right. And as a part of that mentoring group, it was imperative that you had room to operate. So in this particular, so one of the things that I did as a high school teacher, we were over the Student Government Association, and we handled so many events, especially every pep rally, everything for homecoming, all of the elections, everything of that nature. And even the pageant we directed, I directed over 10 years of pageants. And we did all of that with students. We did all of that work with children, empowering high school students to do the work. How do you plan? How do you budget? How do you fundraise? How do you execute? How do you create the decorations? This is what I want. Make it happen.
Yes.
And it eventually became a time when people would ask me questions. What would happen? Adults, Wendy, what are we doing about homecoming? What's going to happen with the parade? What's going to happen with door wars? What's going to happen don't ask me, ask Nate. Don't ask me, ask Ashley. Don't ask me, ask Melandra. I don't know the answer to that. The children know because they're the one doing it. And people looked at us like we were crazy, but it worked because I knew what I was doing.
Yes, it did. I turned my whole senior year into a weekly extravaganza. I mean, anytime that I could, I went to Perkins and I was like, "Hey, can we do another Spirit Week?" And she was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Because we just need spirit."
Right, because the point was to empower you. One of the things that in education that happens is that we stifle the child's ability to be creative and to think and think critically. So in our space, you had to think and you had to use intellect. Not that we only mentor children that were smart, but we identified your strengths and we drove those. So we used our intellect as a teacher to find your strength and then to push you in that area outside of curriculum and education, even into our personal lives, didn't we?
Absolutely. Because it got to the point in which the performing arts program put me against the wall and I had to decide.
Yes, you did.
And you know, it's so actually, and I don't think I've ever voiced this, but to say that, like, it's quite interesting that a performing arts program led majority by white professors and a quote unquote district high school led by majority Black professors would put a young Black man against the wall and make him have to decide about what he wants to do.
Right.
And so, if you don't know, I decided the mentorship and not the show, because what happened was senior year was coming to an end, and it was important to me that I made memories. It was important to me that go ahead, sister, go on. It was important to me that I had cherished and made so many friends my last year of high school, and I wasn't ready for that to be over with. See, what they didn't realize is that by choosing that school, I learned something as an 8th grader that I knew was going to happen again my senior year. In 8th grade, I had to leave all of my friends behind.
Yeah.
I had to decide on studying a craft that I would eventually say absolutely yes to a career. And to do that at that time was such a hard task that you really don't know how to comprehend mentally, right? Yeah. And so, what's up, baby sis? Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. I hope you enjoy this.
On YouTube. Hey, YouTubers.
And so when senior year came around, and I knew that it was going to happen again because I was going to go to college and everyone else was going to go their separate ways. I wasn't interested in rushing to the end because I needed to cherish it, because the last time I didn't know that I needed to cherish it.
Right.
And so
that's good, Nate.
I lost a lot of, I didn't lose, but a lot of friendships dissipated because we didn't know that we needed to cherish that at that time.
Right.
We didn't know there was a shift coming, a transition coming. And so in my senior year, when I got pushed against the wall to basically say, you're either going to do this show, or if you don't do the show, we're going to, cancel the show and you can't go on your senior trip. And I was like, well, then I guess the show's going to have to get canceled and I'm going to go on senior trip, because I'm not actually going to put a production up instead of actually creating memories with human beings.
Right. And so the other part of that was my best friend, the other part of our mentoring program, had asked Nate to actually direct and produce her wedding. Like, this is how serious we were. This is how we poured into young people. Like, I'm going to take your strengths and I'm going to take your gifts and I'm going to drive you in a way in your purpose and build you up that you at 17 and 16 think that you can do anything, and you could. And when you saw that you could do that, you did more. So to the point of, okay, well, here, produce this wedding and tell us what to do. So here we are, the teachers. Now we are the mentors. This is why we call the Mentor Mentee podcast. So now the mentor has become the mentee. Nate was telling us what to do for a wedding. Or this is what it's going to look like. This is what it's going to be. I need this. We're out buying stuff because Nate told us to. And then so you got put up against the wall about rehearsals for this play that ended up being the same time as that wedding.
Yes, it was
and your senior trip.
And our senior trip.
Right. I remember.
And so they didn't want me to miss those rehearsals.
Right.
They wanted me to they didn't want me to miss those rehearsals. I didn't have a lead role also. I just want to say it was a supporting role. It is what it is. I'm also not an actor anymore. That has nothing to do with why I don't act. But I just understood the value of friendships at that time. And that is something that has stayed with me since then. And that is why Wendy and I have stayed so close.
Yeah.
Because it stayed so close because I'm going to turn this phone off because now school's trying to bother me. Because our freshman year.
Yes, of college.
Yes. Which is 2012, 2013. We were in what I would like to say the cycle before the cycle we are in now.
Yeah.
It was ignited by the murder of Michael Brown.
Exactly.
And a colleague of mine from high school stood
another mentee,
another part of this group, right?
Yeah, she is definitely
a Black woman,
yes,
who who I'm just gonna say Ariel, because she just got engaged, and I'm so excited for her.
Congratulations, Pooh. If you see this, we love you.
Yeah, I'm so happy for you. Congratulations, sister. But she put herself out there in ways that none of us had ever done.
Ever.
And what she did was she ignited a revolution. And I want to explain one thing about that. She ignited a revolution that, if she was to speak, and I'm not speaking for her, that she may say she saw coming, that she that was already in the works. But what she specifically did for all of us who were already connected to her in some vein, she gave us the kindling to start burning our flames.
Right. We had to put, number one, as teachers, all those things that we were teaching you about dreams and about purpose and about destiny, and then about civic action and what your duty is as a citizen. It was put up or shut up time.
Absolutely.
I mean, you all were marching down on CNN, but we're on the phone like, is that Aria? Is that are the children downtown? The children are at the CNN Center. Somebody just said the children shut 75 down. So now we're calling administrators, teachers, everybody. All of us had to rise to another level of the occasion and mentorship and leadership. Right. It was one thing to be your teacher in a classroom or your administrator in a building, but now here you are, people that we were connected to, and you were putting your bodies on the line. And so I can't sit idly back and just say, oh, they're putting their bodies on the line. No, it is now my responsibility to speak to that. Call you. What are you doing? What is the plan? How are you going to make this? Have you thought this through? And you know, in the beginning, that first time through, we were afraid. Right.
Now, wait. Let's talk about the first time.
Okay.
Right. So me and for his safety, we're not going to say his name because
you know who you are.
You know who you are that I'm about to talk about. So me and
the non-named person, go.
Me and Pumpkin, because it's Halloween, so we're gonna go with Pumpkin.
Okay.
I got pumpkins in my house.
Okay.
So me and Pumpkin, who were in 2 different states, 2 different schools. I had just gotten my car.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't had my car yet for a year. It was Thanksgiving, so we're a year into this battle. Right. And Pumpkin's on his way to Georgia. I'm on my way to Georgia. It's Thanksgiving break, and there is a protest happening in Atlanta in which streets are getting shut down and people are getting and the military of the Atlanta, the police department is barricading citizens.
Yeah, I remember
blocks on blocks on blocks.
Yes, I remember that.
That night, I arrived. If Pumpkin will tell you a different version of the story, which is, it's crazy because when we talk about it together. But I arrived maybe 30, 45 minutes before Pumpkin. So we didn't park in the same place. I got into the protest. I began rallying with everyone. I was following the lead of the group. And I will say at that time, right, if I tell you what was my mistake at that time versus then, which was I actually did not have a connection with someone who was leading that protest. Not on my phone. Right? I didn't have, I ended up getting it a couple of hours later, but it was too late then. So here's what happens. I'm marching. Pumpkin calls me. He says, I'm here. Where you at? I tell him where I'm at. He meets up with me. And within 20 minutes of us being in the, maybe 20, 30 minutes, it gets dark. And we start getting barricaded. Everyone ends up getting closer and closer together. There's military on the left, military on the right, in front of you, behind you. They're putting us up in a corner where there's which I remember there's it was a church or a graveyard behind us. Symbolic, I know. And so what many people don't know is me and Pumpkin are standing side by side. They're pushing us. We're at the tip of the sidewalk. We're yelling, we're chanting, blah, 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 blah. A cop grabs me. And as the cop grabs me, Pumpkin is standing to my left, to my right. Now, for those who don't know, I have herb palsy in my right arm, which means that it is just, it's broken. It's broken at the elbow and it's broken at the wrist. So the cop grabs me by my left. Now, I have had many situations in my life when someone grabs me at my left and I react, because if you grab someone in a position where they no longer are able to do anything, right? You are literally making them disabled by not allowing them to be a free human. They react in a certain way. It didn't take Pumpkin a millisecond. It didn't take him a millisecond for him to push me and throw himself onto the cop. It didn't take 3 seconds for the cop and the group around to take him, snatch him, and make him disappear from my sight.
Right. That was not a good night.
And so what happened that night, Wendy?
Some people got arrested. Some people had to be bailed out.
But I called you.
You, me, yes.
And I called Shauna.
Yes.
And it's ironic because the joke as we were in high school was, when this happens,
right, when it happens,
we are the first ones you call.
Right.
Right? Because Shauna's parent, dad,
is a sheriff, right?
Is a sheriff. So if you need to know anything, right, and if she needs to find out anything about us, right, where we are,
We got to find you.
Yes. Where are you? Yes. And so, I mean, I know we weren't going to talk about this night, but now that we're in it, let's talk about this night.
Good. I'm in it.
I called you. I called Shauna. Y'all gave me advice. Y'all started your search. Maybe 30 minutes after that, I somehow, I don't know how, y'all, but I get a hold of Ariel.
Right.
And I hadn't seen Ariel yet since it hadn't been since graduation that I saw her. I get a hold of her, I call her and I say, yo, they got Pumpkin. And she said, enough said, where you at? I said, this is where I am. She said, okay, I'm going to send you an address. Come here and meet me. Now, the way I'm going to tell this story, I'm an artist, so it's going to sound theatrical.
Okay.
She tells me to go to this address. It's really like you going to a undercover social justice organization lot.
Right.
Here's why I say it. It's a rundown building. You going up some steps, through a couple of rooms. You open the door and you see a plethora of activists.
Yes, who will stay unnamed.
All who gonna stay unnamed.
Okay.
Who are I didn't even know all of them. I didn't know them. I met them that day, right?
Yes.
But it's a room of activists on the phone. Hi, we need money for bail. Hey, we need money for bail. Excuse me. Hey, we got we got another person who's taken in. Can we add him to the list? Yes. Hi, we need more bail money. We need lawyer. And I'm sitting here in awe, like, oh my God. This is the stuff that people are doing day in and day out. I'm just sitting there protesting. At this time, the only thing I had truly been doing was going to the protest, planning protests. Also, I was only protesting on a university setting. So right. I was also protected by the university police department. Right. So my risk level was like 2 to 10 that they were going through.
Right.
And I remember being in that room till about 3 a.m.
Right.
I fell asleep. Ariel hits me. She says, come on, we're going to go get him. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, hold on. I'm 18. I haven't called my father. I haven't called his parents. I haven't called my parents. I haven't called any of our family members. And I'm like, wait, we about to get him and we about to go home in the morning. And in my head go, and get away with this? Like, we actually not going to get chewed out because I don't have to see the sun come up and know that I got to drive to his parents' house and go, Pumpkin is in jail right now.
Right.
And so we drive over to the jail, and I waited another 3 hours as I waited for them to process him, process the group. They went into the bail bonds. Like, they did I didn't do anything.
No, but it was all because you had the right connections.
Yes.
Bring it back full circle.
Go ahead.
So because you had the right mentors, and you didn't know how they were connected or who we knew or what we knew, but you knew that one knew a sheriff, but you had no idea that another knew an activist that had a name that is around the world, right? And had made that connection with Ariel and that particular name some months before, so that they were connected into a whole nother level of protesting. And because of that, you all were able to get some things done without going into with your parents and everything. And those, and hopefully even learning that. But see, that speaks again, I'm going to bring it back full circle, that it is so imperative and important to surround yourself with people that have already been where you're trying to go. Because she was willing to listen, because in the beginning she wasn't always, but because she was willing to listen and be connected with some people that had already done what she was trying to do, when it came, she learned. Protesting is way more than just out on the picket lines. It is raising money. You know, people are going to get arrested. You've got to have bail money. You've got to have lawyers, and there's a whole setup for that. And luckily for us, you all were able to get connected into that particular night. But that was a scary night. If I remember correctly, I think I told you, boy, you better go get in your car.
You sure did. You said get in your car and go home, and I said I can't.
I know.
I said I can't. I want to think I had Pumpkin's keys. I had Pumpkin's hat, right? And it brings chills when you think about it, because it's like you really remember every night of the first time.
Yeah.
Right. And Pumpkin's story is 10 times worse of what my experience was, right? Because he went through another phase of it. And one day we'll talk each other into writing a story, because to see the two brothers go through it is actually, because we survived it, I say it's a beautiful story.
Right.
But that night, yeah, I mean,
and that was really the catalyst, though. That's what let me know. Number one, that grew me up as well. Right. So if you're a mentor, you have got to be able to, and that's why I said, what is it to be a mentor? You have got to be able to expose those people that are following you to things that they would never see before. You would have never, you knew those names existed. You see them in history books. You've seen them on television. You've seen them in commencement programs once a year. But now you've been in the room. Mm-hmm. Right? Because you had the right connections. And so it is imperative that we have the right connections with people around us, again, that are going places that we that have already been places that we're going. And then you have to have those that you bring along with you. But like I said, I had to grow up in my ability to be a mentor, because either what I was telling you was just a bunch of fluff, or we was finna walk this thing together. And I made a decision in that moment that I was going to walk with you all through the entire process, with all of you. Anybody that was going to put their body on the line, and we just kept saying it that way, these people are putting their body on the line for us, for our, every situation that happened after that. That's what you all were doing. And I had to show up. And eventually I couldn't just show up as the spiritual leader behind the scenes. It was time for me to show up in person.
Right.
And so now here we are, right? Whatever it takes, because we've got to make the earth a better place. So as we segue, wait, you want to close that out? Do you have anything else you want to say in there?
I mean, I can close that out to go. So that's that becomes a defining moment in many of our lives. We go through college. I come home. I start my theater company.
Yes.
And as I start my theater company, I yet again go through another transition. And the beautiful thing of it is, as I go through my transitions, right, you just have always been there as an ear. You've been there as a voice. You've been there as a space creator to go, don't forget, you have the space to give your emotions language.
Yeah, you do.
Right? You have the space to give your emotions language. You don't have to know right now what it is you are trying to do, where you are going, how long it's going to take, what the outcome is going to be. But what you do have right now is a plethora of emotions that are telling you things. And it's your responsibility right now to give it language so that you know what's coming next.
Right. I think it's important, right, to be able to speak. Us as African Americans, for so long, we have to be able to code switch, right? I've got to be able to speak one language in the professional community to show that I have intellect, and then be able to, and then speak another language in the community so that I can be safe, and that I'm not a punk, or that I'm hip, or that I belong here. And I don't believe in that switching. I believe that you have the right to give your life and your emotions and your thoughts a language in a space, in this room, that classroom, or in my life, in the space that we're in. You are going to have that space to give everything language. Even in the class, I would say, when students would say, I don't know what to say. When I'd ask a question, I would say whatever's on exactly what you're thinking, just don't curse. Like, give what is in your brain language, just say it. You'll be so surprised how even the biggest fears that you have become nothing the moment you speak them out your mouth, right? So just give it language, say a thing, speak a thing. Remember, all things are started when things were spoken. So when you speak it, you give it life. And as you speak to it, you'll see it manifest. You'll see it come forward. You'll see it come to fruition. Just like saying, I want to start a podcast. Well, okay, let's do it.
Hello.
Well, it's nothing between us, nothing there but what? Air and opportunity. So as we segue, I want to talk about a little bit of a rant that I have. And I'm going to talk about a couple of things. So one of the things that I learned as we shift gears is that, when I got a problem with people that when they can't control you, or when they are no longer a part of your life, man, you outgrow people, you break up in a relationship, you have coworkers that you don't always agree with, they, have a lot to say. I'm the kind of person that if you and I are at odds, like I'm trying to get work done, I am very busy. Anybody that knows me, I'm busy. I'm trying to get things done. I'm moving. Everything is moving really fast. And what I don't have time to do is to play games with people. I don't. If we're at odds, you have an issue. I don't. I'm still too busy trying to be great. I have all these young people, amazing people around me that are watching me. And so what they're not going to see me do is going back and forth with people. What I learned the hard way is that when people can't control you, they'll try to control the narrative of you. In other words, like they'll go back to your boss and say things because they want to be in your position, or they'll go and if they see you doing a thing or in a particular place, they think that they can do that. What I do is not easy. They think that they can do those things, and so they try to ease their way in there by talking to someone else to put themselves in that position. And I always say, I don't fault the person that has an issue with me. Because a snake is going to be a snake. I got my eye on the person that's doing the listening. Like, you should know me and my character. You should see my work ethic and see what I produce. Have you not seen the work that has been produced here, that you would listen to this person? What do they bring to the table? That you would listen to this Fraggernacker bull. And that leads me to my rant or my lesson for the day, boys and girls. You need to know the difference between your audience and your spectators.
Say that again.
Your audience versus your spectators. Well, what is your audience, Wendy, versus your spectators? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Your audience are going to be those people that will invest in you. Your audience are the people you play to. They're the ones that you're looking towards. They're the ones whose attention that you want. If you want to be the point guard on a basketball team, then the coach is your audience. If you're trying to get a scholarship, then the people that are reading your scholarship essay is your audience. If you are trying to get someone to write you a recommendation letter, then the teacher is your audience. It is not the person sitting to your right or your left that's still trying to figure out who they are. They are your spectators. Your audience will pay money. They'll get dressed up, put on a top hat, put on a nice gown, some gloves, pay for a ticket, sit down and watch your performance. They will stand up and they will applaud. They tell other people about the great work you've done, and everything you do, they will invest in it. They invest in you. They want to see you do well. They're going to wait for you. Every good thing you do, they're going to put it out there, and they might tweet about it. They might put it on social media. But your spectators, they're not dressing up. They're hiding in the bushes with a camera, waiting for you to trip up so that they can take a picture and capitalize off your misfortune. They want you to do well because they want to make money. They want to make gains off you. They're leeching onto you as you are moving up, because as you move up, they're trying to pull themselves up too. They're not there for your betterment. They're there for their betterment. They are the paparazzi in your life. You need to put on your shades and tell them to get your good side. They're your spectators. So you have to know the difference between a spectator and an audience member. Because when you're going through life and you're trying to get things done, if you are like we are goal-oriented people. We are vision-oriented people. I have dreams and I'm going to make them happen, one step at a time. I don't have time to play to the spectators because there's nothing I can do right for them anyway. And number one, they don't even know what they want to do. They don't know who they are. They're walking around in sweatpants and t-shirts and hiding in bushes. I don't have time for that. I'm too cute for bushes. You need to play to your audience, because sometimes your audience has already been where you're going, right? They're critics in your area. They're people that have already been where you're trying to go. So you need to know the difference and make sure that, as we would say in the angel rules, know your audience and know how to work them. So that's my rant for the day. Either, make sure that you have your good side showing and know exactly who you need to waste time with, your talents, your time, and your energy. Because spectators, all you need to do is get my good side. I don't got time for it.
Okay. I'll take that. Okay,
All right.
I'll take that.
So listen,
yeah.
I want to hear let me hear a little Sugar Bear Chronicles. I want to know what's going on with you today as we wrap up here in these last couple of minutes.
Yeah. Okay, so my point of the Sugar Bear Chronicles is I want to make sure that every episode I try to talk about something that has made my heart smile.
Mm-hmm.
Here is what has made my heart smile this week. My school is going through a huge transition because of the pandemic. It has shown all the flaws of the system, and the system is now being pressurized, and they are working on ways to change it and make it better for tomorrow. And so today I just want to highlight the community of of the theater school at DePaul University for starting to exercise the muscle of their voice. We had a town hall this week, and I was in pure awe, excitement to see students start to cross that barricade of speaking from their emotions, sharing how they are authentically feeling, asking for solutions and not just presenting problems, not accepting the status quo answer, but really pressuring to get an answer that is actually going to bring some form of change and betterment for the individuals. And this quarter for me, I have to share, has been very trying. I in some way or another ended up being in a position where I have just had to call out a lot, right? To say it correctly, I just had to make a lot of call outs, and making call outs is very emotionally draining. And it takes a lot of responsibility, because in order for you to do a call out, you must pay attention to what was, to what is, and know what can't be. And doing all these call outs has just been, it's just weight. It's just weight, and it's the work that we have to do as we change this system. But seeing these students, these undergrads, man, I'm talking about, like, we're talking about what was happening to me at 17 and 18, finding my voice. And to see students at 17, 18, and 19 starting to find their voice, I was just like so full of hope and encouragement. And I knew that it was all worth it. All the call outs that I did, all of the overstepping that I had done, that meeting this week made it all worth it. Because while I'm about to take my leave, I know and trust that they are now exercising that muscle. And no matter how long it takes for it to get strong enough, no matter how long it takes for or how often they choose to use it, I know it's there. I know it's
so
there.
I want to bring clarity. So when he says call outs, Emil has been literally calling out to the university about some systemic racism that they have, different things that are happening in the theater department, or just different things as they're making plans, as they were trying to plan their year. He really put some people's feet to the fire, which probably was a scary place. So when he's saying some call outs, that's what he means. So then he's saying that he's seen other students actually speak from a place of emotion. So that I just want to make sure that everybody understood what you were talking about, that you are amongst a minority of students. There's a small minority of students in your program. And so you lifted your voice in this hour, and you're saying that you've seen some harvest from that. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so my Sugar Bear Chronicles are to them to say that, like, here's some love, here's a hug. It's gonna take some time, but I'm so proud of y'all for starting it now. And know that it does get easier the more you exercise that muscle.
Awesome.
I got a question.
What's your question?
So this is for everyone who is in the comments, as well as it is for us.
Okay,
we're about to wrap up this episode. But before we wrap up this episode, there's a tradition I would like to start.
Okay.
Which is I'm going to pose a phrase to you. And all I ask is you tell me in what order that phrase resonates to you.
Okay.
I'm going to pose a phrase to you. You tell me in what order this phrase resonates to you. The phrase is this: today's dream is tomorrow's reality, or tomorrow's dream is today's reality. So, today's dream is tomorrow's reality, or tomorrow's dream is today's reality.
So I'm going to go with today's dream is tomorrow's reality.
Okay.
And that's because I'm a visionary. and I have to see a thing, and I see it completely in my head, all played out. I see the end result. I saw you at 30 when you were 16. And I knew you were going to be great when I met you. And so once I see a dream and I see a thing in my head, then I can take the steps necessary to make that thing a reality. Or I can know that something is coming, and therefore I can have the hope, I can have the faith, I can have the endurance to hold on or to do the work. As some people that I know would say, trust the process or go through the process, right, to get to the reality. So for me today, because it could change tomorrow, I can think of some things. Today's dream is tomorrow's reality. I have a dream right now in my head about something that I'm going to do, and I know that it's going to come to pass. And I'm in the process of making it happen right now. So that's my answer.
Okay. I'm gonna jump with tomorrow's dream is today's reality. So it was a little bit of a fight because I wanted to go with today's dream, but I'm gonna go with tomorrow's dream is today's reality.
You can be on my side. You don't have to be opposite of me.
No. Oh, you're right. You absolutely right. But I still want to go with tomorrow's dream is today's reality.
Okay. All right.
So often we have dreams about the future, and yet we actually do not know where we are right now. So often we have dreams of the house, the family, the job, a world of inclusivity, a world that is not misogynistic, racist, polarized by politics, or religion, or all of those things, right? And we actually never look at what today's reality is. And today I pose to say, we are dreaming so much about a future, but we need to take the time to look at what is going to change of that today.
All right, come on, make that thing walk now.
Now here's why I'm saying that. There's an election in less than 7 days, right? Because today's Wednesday, so we 6 days out now. Us have been dreaming about a result that is going to happen in 6 days.
Okay, I hear you. Come on and make it do now.
But the reality of today is that if I don't get my behind down to Georgia within the next 6 days, tomorrow's dream don't mean reality. Nothing.
It's not going to be a reality for you.
Okay?
Right.
So when you dream about what you want your tomorrow to be, look at what today's reality is and actually jot down, record yourself. We got so much technology today, but document the reality of what today is.
Yeah.
So that you actually see what your process and journey is.
That's good.
Because to bring it full circle is this. We all deserve to look at our past. It's okay to reminisce on where we were.
Yes.
We have been rehearsing this episode for 3 weeks. And every time we rehearse it, it was different.
It's different.
Today, it was completely
different.
Because of the reality of what our today was. As for the last 2 months, we've been dreaming about this day.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, you
get that.
Okay, you get 1 point. So did anybody leave a comment? Did anybody have, so as you're thinking about that, people, today's dream being tomorrow's reality, or tomorrow's or today, how did you say it? Today's reality being tomorrow's dream, right? However you see that thing, there's one constant, and that's it's the in between. There's a dash that goes between the dream and the reality. There's a dash, there's that through, right? And you got to go through some things. You got to go through the process. You got to go through the transition. You got to walk that thing out. Regardless if you see it in your head today and you want it to be a reality tomorrow, or you're dealing with some things today that you're dreaming for to come to pass later on, either way, you've got to walk that thing out. And so what we're saying here at the okay, so we've got a couple of comments. So I'm going to go to those. Yes.
Okay, let's go with the first one.
Okay.
Today's dream is tomorrow's reality. I believe that how we think and the dreams we have today shape the future, and also influences the decisions we make tomorrow. Good. Today's reality is tomorrow's dream as well, because the reality we live in today will affect the dreams we have tomorrow. I believe they both are intertwined and both feed off of each other. Okay, brother.
That was excellent, Micah. Wow, thanks for that insightful comment. You're right. It goes both ways. I like it. That means I get a point.
You do have a point, but I think here's my point number 2. I'm with Emil. So often we have dreams of the future, but the truth is we don't know where we are right now. Powerful.
Wow. So you do need to know, you have to be present today, right in this moment. If you're daydreaming, it's different than dreaming. So that's a whole nother thing. We could talk about that, right?
That's another episode right there. Don't even start about
daydreaming and dreams are two different things. If you're walking around with your head in the clouds because you don't want to deal with where you are right now, that's something very different than having a very purposeful idea and vision about your future. So that's very powerful, Brennan. Thank you so much for that comment. So as we get ready to close ourselves out, I want to leave you with this thought. The whole purpose of this podcast is because Emil and I have evolved in a mentor-mentee relationship. As I might have started as the mentor, there have been many times that I am the mentee. I could not have put this equipment together for myself. You saw the blooper reels on trying to put together our promos, and just in life. You've got to, sometimes the people that you are training or teaching or are following you, they lead you. There was a point in life that I had to make some decisions. And if I was going to be the leader that I was called to be, I had to shift some things in my life because I knew he was watching. So I encourage you to think about your reality and your dreams. What is it that you want for yourself? And then think about, who do you need to surround yourself with so that you can make those dreams a reality? You do know you cannot live in this life alone. Even if we're talking about the blessings of God, you do know they all came from a person. Every promotion, every gift, everything you're going to get, you're going to receive from other people. You might as well be very particular about the people you surround yourself with. So I encourage you, before our next episode, next Wednesday, and let's make sure we talk about the right times, before our next episode, that you think about who you need to have in your life. I'm going to tell you, find someone whose past is your future. Well, what do I mean by that? Someone that has already been where you're trying to go. They can help lead you in the right direction. They can give you some wisdom and some pointers about the direction of your life. If you do that, I think all things will be well with you. And also think about those that you can pull up with you, right? That you can bring along with you. Those are some of the things that I'm going to encourage you to do as we take this journey together.
We got one more comment. You want to read
I saw that. Yeah. I got it. So what I thought when I heard today's reality is tomorrow's dream, all I could think of was gratefulness. I have so many things I would love to accomplish tomorrow, but today I will be grateful because you don't know what you have till it is gone. Then it would be only a dream of the past. Wow. Sapphire, that was an awesome point and a great incitement. Very insightful. Thank you so much for sharing we do need to be grateful. Emil?
Yeah, as we wrap up, and we keep saying that we're wrapping up, but we're about to because this is it.
We're some Baptist preachers today. That's the third close.
Come on. So here's my closing, and then we're just gonna talk, which is to say, as we go through this journey, we hope not only that you continue to be with us and watch us weekly, but that you bring your mentor or you bring your mentee into the space with you, right? So that you guys are experiencing this together. You're making this a time for you guys to not only hear and then be able to commune and talk together and share space together, but to also share ideas. And lastly, to say that we ain't going nowhere. No. We did it. And because we did it, we can't stop now. No. So I want to encourage everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment on our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channel. We are going to be doing this for a very, very long time. All our platforms are at Mentor Mentee Podcast. It's spelled out. If you enjoyed the show, we would love to hear your thoughts about it. We will be back, and we're going to talk about this right now, and then we leave it. We will be back next Wednesday, and our confirmed timing is going to be 6 o'clock.
Okay.
6 o'clock Central Time.
Okay. 7 o'clock Eastern
Time.
Okay. Got it.
So we'll see you next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central. Nope. I messed it up again. See? We will see you next week. We will see you next Wednesday, the day after the election.
Yes.
It's going to be good. So we will see you next Wednesday at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Time. God bless all of y'all.
You just said the same thing. That's the time we're on now. You just said 6 o'clock Eastern. Let me say it. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you all next week at 6 o'clock Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're so glad that you are with us today. I'm Wendy Torres.
And I'm Emil Thomas.
And this has been the Mentor Mentee Podcast. Good night.